right now because I firmly believe that Davis Webb is the Giants' quarterback of the future.
And I think that's what the thought process was. I think he has all the skills. I think his college career in his numbers and his statistics actually were made worse by the fact that he couldn't get into an environment and be able to get the consistency he should have, which I think hurt his potential and where he could have gone into a draft. But in the same sense, I'm glad because that worked out for us because he's also in a situation where he can get comfortable, he can learn the system, he can learn whatever Eli can remember to tell him, unless he's daydreaming. So if he can be given that amount of time, I think it's actually a good fit for the Giants to get him in the system. Don't make it the pressure on him. We've got the guys in place. We need to compete now. You just need to get everything together and develop this because Eli's got 3-4 years at most left in his tank.
Yeah, the only thing that I can think of the Giants doing, going back to the blocking issue, the only thing that I can think of, the reason they didn't select a big running back early on or an offensive lineman, they must think they have LeGarrette Blount in the bag.
I don't know. There is that possibility. I don't know if that's going to be the case. I mean, I wasn't overwhelmingly impressed with the Giants' draft selection, but that being said, I was happily surprised in some of the picks that were made.
I think that the Giants and the Cowboys both passed up on what they should have done.
I would say especially with their first-round picks. I think they dropped the ball in the first-round picks, but I also think that they made up with it with some of their later-round picks in making good choices in the later rounds.
They didn't even take David Njoku, who is still on the board.
Yeah, no kidding.
And I don't get it.
I can't explain that.
They took the fourth best tight end.
Mm-hmm.
Well, O.J. Howard was off the board already.
Right, and I think the Giants were hoping that O.J. Howard would fall to them, but I think that was very wishful thinking.
Yeah, I don't think they
and then
messed
it
up.
could have been a panic situation. Oh, well, we need a tight end. Well, you didn't do enough research on the other three that were going to be left on the board, and unless there is some other alternative game plan, I can't see it right now. But I mean, I wasn't in the room, so I don't get to make the decision. I am pleasantly surprised with taking Tomlinson. I do like that selection for a need to be replaced, and I do like Webb for future reasons.
Yeah, I like Webb a lot. I think that was a good pick. I even thought if Pat Mahomes falls to 23, the Giants should take him. They need a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've still got Eli. Who better for a quarterback to sit behind than a Manning?
That's true, and I mean the Mannings. These people breed quarterbacks in their camps, so it's a great fit for.
I think Chip Kelly. I think Chad Kelly was one of their camps. He went to Ole Miss.
Yeah, I think you're right. But it's a good situation for him, so I'm hoping it works out in the long run.
Yeah, absolutely. So now let's get into our prediction mode. We're going to talk about NFL honors and give our predictions for who we think are going to win the awards. We'll go one by one, starting with the Offensive Rookie of the Year. Offensive Rookie of the Year. You want to start or you want me to start?
You can start. Go ahead.
Okay, so my Offensive Rookie of the Year, I have wide receiver Corey Davis, drafted from Western Michigan to the Tennessee Titans. He's, in my opinion, the second best wide receiver after Mike Williams, but I feel like he went to a better situation. He's got a good quarterback with Marcus Mariota. He's got a good running back with DeMarco Murray. Good offensive line, so it'll give the quarterback time. And he goes to a solid defense. So I think him going to the Tennessee Titans really puts him in the best situation for him to be the Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Okay. I can see that. He was actually one I was considering. One, I'm going to go out on kind of a
Chad Kelly
limb here. No, it's going to be Juju Smith what's his last
Juju
name?
Smith-Schuster.
Schuster, yes. I think the kid's extremely talented. I think that he's actually going to get more playing time in the Steelers than we think, and I think that being an offense that's going to rely heavily on the pass but have a nice run to be able to go both ways, I think he'll be a surprise. So he's the person I'm going with for my offensive rookie of the year.
Okay, and he does go to a good team. The only reason I wouldn't have gone with him is because they have Antonio Brown and Martavis Bryant.
True. Although Bryant coming off a year of suspension, I think he's better than Sammy Coates is, and I think Coates is more of the slot guy anyway, and I think Juju just a better fit for a target that someone like Big Ben is looking to hit. So that's why I went with him.
Okay. It's a very good pick. So Corey Davis for me, Juju Smith-Schuster for you. Now, Defensive Rookie of the Year, I'm sticking with the Tennessee Titans and going with Adoree Jackson, corner from USC. I don't know if you have listened to previous podcasts. I love this guy, and I was so upset that he was taken before the Cowboys could have drafted him because he's the player that I wanted the Cowboys to get. He is the number one player that I wanted Dallas to select. So I'm taking 2 Titans for Rookie of the Year.
2 Titans for Rookie of the Year, really?
Crazy.
That is rather interesting. Actually surprised. I'm going to switch it up for the Defensive Rookie of the Year. I'm trying to get his name so I pronounce it right. McKinley.
Oh, Takarius
Atlanta.
McKinley.
Yeah. The reason I'm choosing him...
Because he carried a photo of his grandma on the draft stage?
No, has nothing to do with that. Classy move, but nothing to do with that.
Sweet, very sweet.
I just think Atlanta is doing a lot of moves to increase that defense, and he is a DN that can. He reminds me of someone like a Khalil Mack because he can be very versatile. He's listed as a DN. I don't know if he's necessarily going to fit in there, but he could also be an outside linebacker. Either way, he's a pass rusher, and given how successful in the scheme Vic Beasley was, and how much teams are going to have to pay attention to Vic Beasley, I think he's going to slide in as someone that almost gets forgotten by other teams, who ends up making a lot of disruptive plays, whether it be batting balls down, sliding back into defense, or coming up to stuff runs, or even getting to the quarterback.
Yeah, I like him. I think that was a great pick by the Falcons. Very classy guy. Is not getting fined for his profane language during the interviews, by the way. The NFL has decided he's not going to be fined for that. So that's good, because he doesn't have any money yet.
Yeah, no, he's still broke. Hasn't gotten a check yet.
Yeah, so solid pick. I don't disagree. Just I love Adoree Jackson.
Oh, no,
I adore him.
Adorable.
Adorable.
Yeah. I mean, I like your picks, too. I think that there's a lot of good things happening in Tennessee. And I do like your offensive rookie of the year pick, because I think Mariota is one of those quarterbacks that took the next step last year, and he desperately needs the weapons in Tennessee.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, other than DeMarco Murray, because they're a run first team right now, but they need offensive weapons, and if he can get on the same page with Mariota, it's going to be a long day for everyone.
Oh, absolutely. So we're going to go now to offensive player of the year. My pick. Quarterback, Oakland Raiders, Derek Carr.
Oh, wow.
Derek Carr is my offensive player of the year.
We are in agreement. I had him as well. I think Derek Carr will be the offensive player of the year. I think he could have made that argument this year had it not been for him going down when he did. I think he has an argument to be in the MVP conversation.
That's very possible. Absolutely possible. So since we both agree that's an easy one, let's skip now.
We can go on. I'm sure every point we make is going to be similar. So
Defensive player of the year. This is going to be a little bit of a surprise. But I'm going to go with Chargers Joey Bosa.
I was actually thinking Joey, although I actually am going similar to the way that you did. I actually have a lot of faith in the Raiders this year. So I'm going Raiders offensive and defensive player of the year.
Khalil Mack?
Khalil Mack.
Very, very possible. He's the reigning Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, I know. I think he goes back to back. Another person I did like to slide in there. I like Joey Bosa. I'd love to see him get Defensive Player of the Year, especially after everyone saying, "Oh my God, his contract holdout." This would just be the icing on the cake to say, "Yes, I am this good, and I did deserve what I was arguing for." So I'd love that argument. The other person I'll slide into the mix that I think that could be there is Luke Kuechly.
He's the other one that I had.
Yeah, he's too good in so many different ways to be ignored. Him and Khalil Mack are almost the exact similarity as far as linebackers that I think of, because they can do whatever you ask them to do.
I also was really close to. At first, it was a two-person race for me between Joey Bosa and Ndamukong Suh. And then I picked Joey Bosa, and I'm like, wait a second. I gotta think about Khalil Mack. I gotta think about Vic Beasley
Von Miller.
Yeah. And then, as much as I hate to say it, Janoris Jenkins.
Yeah,
I had to think about him. So eventually, my mind was like, no, I've got it made up on Joey Bosa.
Stick to your gut. I like it.
So the next one is going to be one that I think is a little controversial. Comeback Player of the Year. First, I want to hear who you have for Comeback Player of the Year.
Comeback Player of the Year for me. Let's see. If I had a guess, I'm going to say, because I've said I don't count him out of any situation because of what he did after his ACL, I'm going to say that it's Adrian Peterson.
Okay, Adrian Peterson.
I think he rips off I think having the Chug as the center, New Orleans went out and made sure that they got a little bit more on their offensive line. And AP, again, if he can come after an ACL 8 months early and almost break the NFL rushing record, I wouldn't be surprised if he pulls another rapid out of his hat.
Okay. Other players that I was thinking about, Jamal Charles just got picked up by a team. Marshawn Lynch coming back out of retirement. But the player I selected was Brock Osweiler.
Oh, that would be something else.
I think Brock Osweiler is going to lead the Browns to at least 6 wins, which would be good enough to get him Comeback Player of the Year.
I could see where you're coming from, especially given the amount of money he made last year, the overwhelming what it was perceived disappointment that he was in Houston, not living up to that contract money, to go to Cleveland where they weren't even sure they were going to keep him. And then if he comes back and actually wins more games for the Browns than they've won in almost 3 years combined, yeah, I could see that. I could totally see that. That would be very funny for me for Brock Lobster to win Comeback Player of the Year.
I think Derek Carr doesn't qualify because he got hurt 2 weeks.
Yeah, I don't think you can put him in the same category there.
The only other player that I had in my mind, if it wasn't going to be Brock, Marshawn. It's going to be Marshawn Lynch if it's not Brock Osweiler.
Yeah, I mean, I could see Marshawn, too, coming back and playing in Oakland. It really depends on how Oakland uses him and how often he's used. The same thing holds true for Adrian Peterson because Ingram's no slouch of a running back in New Orleans either.
Right. Mark Ingram, he's underperformed, but he's obviously doing well enough to keep a job.
Yeah, and I can't play.
Yeah.
Not in that league.
No. I mean, video games, yeah.
Yeah, I could be a really bad kicker at best.
Which, by the way, 2 weeks ago we talked about our 3 weeks ago, actually, we talked about the dirtiest players, and I mentioned Bill Romanowski, and he is in NFL Blitz the League. I picked up a copy of Blitz the League.
Oh, that's fantastic. That is fantastic. We're going to have to get together, and we're going to have to do a tournament, the three of us.
Absolutely.
We're going to do a round robin or something.
Good old Bruno Battaglia.
Yeah, exactly.
But, so... We're going to go back to our conversation.
Our actual awards for real football.
Our actual awards for real football. So that brings us to Coach of the Year.
Well, given my prior 2 picks...
Are you going Jack Del Rio?
I want to say it's probably going to end up being Jack Del Rio. Because I don't know. Coach of the Year is always one that's hard for me to say because... It's hard to see which teams are going to pick up and be successful and be led by their coaches. But at this point, I want to say it's going to probably be Del Rio.
If Cleveland wins the 6 games, Hugh Jackson should be the
Oh,
coach.
no, yeah. No, you're absolutely right.